good victory for Chelsea. It was 3-0, 2-0, wasn't it? Chelsea.
It
Oh no, it was
was, yeah,
3-0, wasn't it?
yeah.
3-0 last night. Yeah,
It
yeah, I
was a
saw
good
some
one.
of that.
It just reminded me of the, excuse me. It just reminded me of how they performed during the Club World Cup, Chelsea, where they beat PSG in the finals by 3-0, and how they got to the final, actually. They must have played well to get to the final. But
Mm.
something about Chelsea that, just surprises me. They're not in the spotlight like Arsenal, Liverpool, and the rest. They're just in the corner right there. But every now and then, they'll pull up a really good performance that would make you notice them and say, "Oh yeah, we're still here with Chelsea." So, what do we make of Chelsea? What do we make of Chelsea?
Well, you said, I think the secret, in a way, as to what's happening is in what you just said. That
Hmm.
you said something like every now and then they pull out a good performance. Well, that's not good enough in the Premier League. It's simply not good enough. And I think
Yeah.
before the season started, they were being nominated as one of the three or four teams that could win the league. Now, I think it's accepted now they're not going to. I mean, I can't from the top of my head think how many points they're behind. They're pretty good. They're pretty much up there. But I don't think they're consistent enough. They have these good days, very good days, but they're not playing to that kind of standard every week. It's a different Chelsea that seems to come out to different matches. So yeah, I don't see them actually, winning the Premier League. Now that
Hmm.
they're in the Champions League, so they could have a chance at that if they maintain these performances. But I just think there's a degree of inconsistency
Hmm.
about Chelsea. I mean, the manager was spent a couple of games in the stands, didn't he? Because he'd been sent off. So he's obviously understandably, these managers are passionate people, and then it's like Oliver Glasner. He's the same, passionate, and you love to see it. Pep Guardiola, and you see his reactions at the game on Sunday when Manchester City lost. I think it was Sunday, not Saturday, and he's sort of holding his head in despair when goals are missed, and they're going through every kick, every header of the game. That's the nature of the beast of club management, isn't it?
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a tough game to watch, and I've not really made up my mind about the Chelsea manager. I'm sure he's very good, and he certainly qualifies because so many of the Premier League managers are stone cold bald. So,
Hmm.
they all look a bit like lots of Pep Guardiola's lined up. Certainly, the Chelsea manager could be mistaken for Pep Guardiola. I mean, you never see them both in the same room together, do you? So, I wonder if he does two jobs, one person. One week they say, oh, he's in the stand, and he's not. He's actually at Man City. But you never know, do you?
You never know, yeah.
And of course, we
That's a,
come to another very famous baldy, just interrupting your
Go
agenda
on.
a bit, ARNE SLOT'S. I don't know whether you're going to bring up Liverpool, but is it a
Yeah.
good moment
Go
to
on.
say what I'm going to say?
Well, yeah, yeah. Please go on. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
lots of
it's an
there's a lot to talk about with him.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there is stuff to talk about. But you want to wait, or should we do it now?
No, no, no. Please. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always thought he's a good manager. He did very well last season, though many say, well, it was with Jurgen Klopp's team, which I suppose it was. But it's all gone badly wrong since then. I mean, at the weekend, they lost at home to Forest, didn't they? 3-0. I mean, can you
Yeah.
imagine that? You never thought you'd say those words in the same sentence. Liverpool lost at home 3-0 to Nottingham Forest. No disrespect to Nottingham Forest. They had a very good season last season. And
Mm.
now with Nuno, they're starting to have a good season this season. And that's a good scalp they've got quite early on. But something fundamental seems to have gone. Fundamental seems to have gone wrong with Liverpool. And we've talked about this in the last few weeks. because I think they've lost 6 out of their last 7 Premier League games. I think that's the score at the moment. Again, when did you think we'd ever say that? They've lost 6 of their last 7 Premier League games for a team that's just won the Premier League, with all that meant and all that went into that. And it's interesting. I read this morning that Paul Scholes, former Manchester United player, great player for Man United, on a podcast, I don't know what podcast it was, but in the last day or two has said he blames ARNE Slot for Liverpool's decline. And one of the reasons he gave for that, although let me just interject there and say that after the loss on the weekend, Slot did say, well, when we win, it's my responsibility. When we lose, it's my responsibility. It's my fault, blah, blah, blah. So he does take responsibility, which I guess a manager has to. But what Paul Scholes said, he said, I was very disappointed that when Liverpool actually won the league last season. No, I don't mean at the end of the season. I mean, their last game was Palace. I went up to that last game at Liverpool, and it was a 1-1 draw. And so after they'd actually won and they couldn't be caught, which I think was, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks before the end of the season. So in other words, some of April and all of May, or up until the last league games, there was obviously a bit of a gap. There was a gap for players to perhaps have a bit of a break. It wasn't an international break, I don't think. But anyway, Liverpool knew they'd won the trophy. And at that point, in May at some point, ARNE Slot went to Ibiza. And there's a picture of him hugging Wayne Lineker, the guy who owns, Gary Lineker's brother, who owned his own bar out there for years in Ibiza. Right. And apparently our friend Arnie was DJing and all the stuff. We tend not to sort of think of a manager. I mean, he's not particularly old, is he? I think he's in his 40s. Yeah. So good luck to him in those ways. But Paul Scholes says what he did there before the end of the season, there were still some games to go, which they didn't do well at. You've got to say, they lost 1 or 2 and drew with Palace at the end. I think the word Paul Scholes used was it was a classless thing to do. And you see the pictures of him there, and nothing wrong with if he wants to hug Wayne Lineker as 2 buddies. They just, obviously know each other, I imagine, from before. Good luck to them. But maybe you'd expect that, if at all, in the close season, when they're out on their holidays and they get plenty of downtime, I guess, in June, early July, maybe. They get a month off anyway, at least. So I understand sort of thing what Paul Scholes meant, because I don't know about you. We